and welcome to the podcast, Appetite for Distortion, episode 228. My name is Brando, and if you are watching on Zoom, as I'm doing more Zoom interviews as we continue to feel our quarantine, because I'm normally in a studio, radio studio in Tribeca, which I was yesterday producing Q1043, and I'm wearing my GNR Appetite for Vaccination mask, Malcolm. I don't know. I don't know if you've gotten custom masks yet, if you've gotten to that.
Nah, not yet.
I can't help. I bought a bunch of cat masks for my girlfriend tonight to wear.
Really?
But then I bought a couple of GNR masks, one of which I wore today, which a couple things is going to help me introduce you, Malxolm Brixkhouse, and it's going to be a nice little segue. So if you can see, I have my I voted sticker, and they also gave you a bracelet, I voted, and where is it? Also a pen. I'm surprised they didn't give me like a tote bag.
That's fire.
It's like you go vote and you get all the free swag. And so I voted today. And we first ask you, are you of age to vote yet?
Yeah, I'm 19.
19. Okay, I wasn't sure.
I'm definitely voting.
Right on. Okay, so the reason the age is important. So that's going to segue into, despite me being in radio, I hate self-promoting. So I wanted to make sure I put the sticker on my brand new T-shirt.
Yeah.
I just started making these available on Redbubble, and I bring that up not just for hopefully people to check out the shop, but I noticed on Malxolm Brixkhouse's Twitter, which was formerly Unlocking the Truth, a lot of Unlocking the Truth swag or swag, whatever the kids were saying, is now on clearance. So let me introduce. That was my brilliant segue to introduce you. My guest today, Malxolm Brixkhouse, which is just a cool name.
Thank you.
Formerly, I don't know. I guess this is a good thing. Formerly of Unlocking the Truth. Well, first of all, before we get into anything else, just welcome and thank you for taking the time.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
You've accomplished so much in such a short amount of time, and when I said I was interviewing Malxolm Brixkhouse, some people were like, "Oh, who's that?" And I said, "Oh, Unlocking the Truth," and everyone's light bulb went off because you guys really turned a lot of heads. It's just amazing, especially me being also from the city. You're from Brooklyn. I was technically born in Brooklyn. You and Unlocking the Truth would play, and I guess that's how you got your notoriety in Times Square, right?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly how it started. So, I mean, this is what we had so many interviews, so it just comes naturally for me to explain the story like this.
Sure.
So, basically, we got into metal. It was me, Alec, and Jared.
Mm-hmm.
If people don't know who the band is. Alec was the bassist, and Jared was the drummer. I was the singer and guitarist. And my dad was taking me and Jared to like wrestling shows and stuff like that. We were into wrestling when we were younger, and we just liked the background music. And I was like really into anime, and there were these things called AMV videos, so anime music videos. So it's like anime like fighting scenes with like metal in the background. And of course I heard like hip hop, like I'm from Brooklyn, African American, but like I just gravitated towards the metal more. And my mom got me like a guitar to play and stuff like that. Jared was already playing drums for his church and stuff like that. And basically he came over like every weekend and we started playing band. And after a while, my mom saw the potential in what we like started, like after a couple of years of practice, I guess. And she took us to the Apollo Theater for amateur night. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Okay. So
they used to have Night at the Apollo on after SNL.
Oh wow. Okay. See, I'm young, so I didn't,
okay. Yeah, that was always the thing when Saturday Night Live was over. They would have Night at the Apollo on.
Wow.
And I forget what I'll lose some cool points, but I forget who it was. It was like a clown that would come out on stage and use a broom to brush off.
Yeah, to push them off. Yeah.
We got booed.
But yeah, after that, we won the first round, but we lost the second round. There was like 4 rounds. But then after that, we just decided to take, our performance on the streets. And that's basically how we got our notoriety. We posted videos online. And then it went from like 1,000 views and it just kept going up. Yeah, and then, everything else happened.
I know we're not going to go into your entire story because it's all documented, which I haven't seen.
Yeah.
I've seen clips of breaking a monster, but no, I want people, and I appreciate you kind of giving us a quick little summary because there's a lot of things just in that to break down. First, before I forget it, who's your favorite wrestler growing up?
It was the Undertaker.
Nice.
I was into dark things.
Nice. Okay. I love it. I think he retweeted me once for something I said stupid.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was like the debate should be held in Hell in a Cell or something, and he like retweeted
That's
that.
fire.
Yeah, I mean, Undertaker's, I mean, all ages. That's
Yeah.
they say he may come back, he may not, but still, like every time you hear
Yeah.
that music,
He's the GOAT.
yeah, and that's something that's great because there's a lot of wrestling theme music that you're right. That helps people get into bands or a certain style of music. And there's certain
Mm-hmm.
songs I have on my my playlist, like The Undertaker's, especially with the amount that he had. But I can't say if somebody hasn't been to New York, what you accomplished is so one in a million, so just so rare to happen because you go into I mean, maybe not now because of the pandemic, but in every street corner, subways, everyone's trying to do what you were able to have accomplished. What you accomplished was to be noticed, to be seen, to sign a record deal. It's like living the dream, and the fact that it happened so young, and you're still so young. I think there's so much to be said because how many young artists or young actors it could I don't know, it could be a good thing or a bad thing. Do you feel it was good to be discovered so young? Or do you feel like, it's cool, but you know what, maybe I needed not to be in the public eye when I'm a preteen, a teenager. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah, it's more that
I'm awkward because like, you were
I
signed when you were 13, right?
yeah.
Jeez.
So like I guess like I would say maybe it was like too young now that I look at it
Mm.
from like being 19. But it was a good opportunity.
Oh my God.
That's an
Absolutely.
experience. It was really an experience.
It's an experience that, like I said before, it's a one in a million. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen, and you
Yeah.
earned it. I could say there's a lot of like internet sensations. Like, why did that guy go viral by playing Fleetwood Mac song, drinking cranberry juice? It's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I don't know if there's talent in that. Obviously, your talent was seen and was kind of rewarded. But I was even thinking, you know, so it's what this it's October 28th. So the only reason I remember this date, October 26th, 1996, I was 13 because I was bar mitzvahed that day. The only
Okay.
reason I remember is the Yankees won the World Series that night. So
Wow. Okay.
as a 13-year-old, I'm just an awkward little Jewish kid thinking I'm a man. And I'm just like, my voice is probably still breaking. And I, didn't want to talk to girls. And I can't imagine to be 13 and to do what going on tours, major tours, being on TV.
I
Was it,
felt like I felt
yeah.
like I was still in my basement though. It didn't feel like like I could see how much of an opportunity it was. Like it's always from like my point of view now. It's like perspective. But while I was doing it, I didn't feel like that crazy. Cause I'm like 13. Like I'm just learning the world. I don't see the seriousness in what's going on. So I was like, I just went from playing in my basement, acting like I was performing places, to like just performing in Times Square, and then just happening to be performing with all these other people. It just happened like it didn't seem like it doesn't feel like I worked for it necessarily. It kind of seemed like it happened. I'm just having fun. It was just part of how life went. I just played along.
Where does that come from? Does that come from friends and family? Like, because as I mentioned, I still have anxiety. I take I
Oh,
take
I have a lot of
antidepressant.
anxiety.
Okay.
Yeah, but that happened later on though. I wasn't anxious to perform at these places. It was fun.
Hmm.
It was really fun actually.
Did
The
you? So
drama behind the scenes was like more of the downside, but like, I guess like those minutes on stage are like the best parts. I missed that. So the coronavirus took that away from us clearly, but that was my favorite part of performing. It seemed like because they didn't know any of the words to our songs. That's another crazy part. We had no music out, and we had a long run to not have music out.
It's unheard of.
Yeah,
It's
we
just,
weren't singing for the first half, so this is what I mean. It doesn't seem real. Like you know, it really seems like I'm just having fun. Going, you know, like 13, 15. That's really young. Like everything's still a joke to me.
yeah. But when you go from a basement to, you know, Times Square and you're still out, you know, people are watching you, obviously, just the craziness that is Times Square, people honking, people cursing, not necessarily you, just the background noise along with the
Yeah.
birds and stuff like that, to opening up for Guns N' Roses. You know, how does that happen? You know, it's one thing to be discovered and you know, labels wanting a part of, because it wasn't just the sound. There's a look that went along with it. But how did, I guess, Guns N' Roses and opening up for Slash with Miles Kennedy, how did these big bands reach out to you, and what was your reaction to that?
Honestly, yeah, that is crazy. So we opened up for Guns N' Roses twice. We went on the road with Slash for like a week, and then we performed with him in New York, like 2018. I don't know, but a cool story that happened was when we opened up for Guns N' Roses. I think this was in Las Vegas. It could have been. You see, this is what I mean. Like anybody else would remember exactly where they were, but to me, it's just like I was so young, I don't really remember. But like it happened. I know it happened. So
it's documented with this proof.
It's documented somewhere. Yeah. Well, we came in there and they were like making fun, like, you know, the people worked for like sound check. They were like, the people around, they didn't hear us play yet, so we were plugging in. They were calling us like the Jackson 5 and stuff. You know, just been making little side comments. Then we started plugging in, we started playing, and everybody started offering us like strings and trying to help. It was crazy. And then they also made fun of, like, I have a picture with Axl Rose that no one believes is real because of the way they took it. It looks like, you know, but it was really him though. Like
I wanted
it really was. He was nice to me.
Okay.
People that think he's mean, he was nice to me. But it was a quick altercation in the hallway, and then that's it. You know.
Okay. Did he say, let me take a picture with you? Did you ask like, hey, do you mind? Or did someone say, hey, you too, take a picture?
Yeah, it was more like a hey, you too. He didn't mind, yeah.
Okay, right on. And I know that picture you're talking about. I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
I was like, if you had a better picture of that, because for one, it's through, I have access through iHeart to some Getty images, but that's like in another tier that I just don't have access to.
Okay.
So I was going to ask you if you had like your own copy of that for, you know, me to share, but that's a picture. You're absolutely right. If anyone see it, you can just go on Google right now and you'll see, if you just type in, you know, Malxolm Brixkhouse or Unlocking the Truth and Axl Rose, it looks like a deep fake Axl. It's really funny. You know, it's interesting that you mentioned how you were being treated. You know, it's one thing, okay, they're young, you know, they're getting fame real quick. But when you hear something like just the Jackson 5, I mean, I don't Jackson 5 are legendary. Michael Jackson's legendary. But obviously they're kind of saying it for a reason. They're not calling you New Kids on the Block. They're not calling you Menudo. Is that something also that maybe when you were 13, you just didn't take too much to heart? Or was that,
No, my
were you
mom told me
offended by
that.
it?
My mom told me that story. That's how much I don't remember it.
Oh, okay.
So like I really did not see, you know, all the things that we, you know, adults seen at that time.
Okay.
Like a lot of stuff. It's crazy.
Do you look back on that and kind of just like, yeah, you do.
Yeah, a lot.
Do those things motivate you now? Because they're, of course, and we'll talk about, you know, your new music as you departed and Unlocking the Truth broke up, that there are elements of, you know, hip hop and trap music. You know, is this something that's like where labels bother you and you don't like being just thrown on a label that someone might see you and like, oh, you know, Malcolm is a rapper, which is not the case. I mean, that's part of your repertoire. Is that
People are
something?
gonna make up whatever they want me to be,
Mm,
regardless of what I think. Uh, it doesn't bother me what people think I may be now. Uh, I'm literally what I was when I was younger. So like maybe the people that heard me from that were introduced to me from my metal may think my music is different now, but my music, I've always been different because I was making metal in like Brooklyn, so it's not new to me to do something different.
mm.
It's like regular, and they'll always have their opinion. Everybody, no, I can't make everybody happy. So
That's the beauty, though, I think, of being from Brooklyn. Like we're so gentrified. We see, I look outside and I see the amounts of, just my window here in the apartment, all the different ethnicities and people, and
mm-hmm.
I'm one. It's all in the same. But that's something that always it caught my eye. As a white Jewish kid, I'm like, they sound great. That's cool that they're young, but I hope they're not being taken advantage of, or just say, oh wow, because they're African American. That
No,
always
that's
kind of.
definitely part of it. It's part of it,
I know it is, but
which I realized as I got older. I didn't see it at the time.
Mm.
So yeah, it was crazy.
Well, I'm just letting, and I'm being honest. That bothered me to a bit, but as long as you were young, and that's important that you said you were just up there having fun, and now that you're older, you have some you're able to look back and think about it. But at the time,
It's crazy. A lot of my
yeah,
music has to do with that and how I handled that later on. So yeah, a lot of my new music comes from that,
okay,
and I feel like uh, so I would describe my new music as I'm basically taking it's basically just a 2020 version of new metal.
okay.
It's not because I guess new metal is just like I don't know, would that be like rap and metal, like any other influence and metal? It's not just straight, you know, metal or rock. It has like these other influences, like these
There are a lot of
other.
bands like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of bands like that. I think I'm just taking, people like I guess like I have the like I was very inspired by like Little Uzi when he came out because I just like his melodies. They're very I don't know. It reminds me of bands I would listen to, but they're just like over 808, and hi hats. I don't know. I guess I recognized that early, and I didn't mind him calling himself a rock star. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and there was just like Trippie Redd and these other people, and then I was already playing metal, and then I came to the conclusion one day that I could definitely blend the two things because I live in Brooklyn, so the influence is clearly there. So I hear rap everywhere, and the rap is not really how it used to be. It's not just rhythmic; it's like melodic now. So I heard the influences, and I heard I can merge them together. I was getting sick of the music I was making. I just merged them together. I came up with this sound, and then there's a certain kind of realness that rap has that I feel like with lyric wise now, like it's more raw, the content of what they're talking about. I feel like metal, I feel like I'm like trying to like dissect a poem kind of
Hmm.
with the lyrics. So I just take those aspects and I mix it together and I just make my music.
So if jump off that point is this direction, I'm not going to say necessarily new direction.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why Unlocking the Truth broke up? Like, if you can talk about why you decided to go solo, and I know your former bandmates are a part of your new record, right? Or at least are on one song. No,
We played in the same video.
okay,
It was just a video.
okay,
But I fully, produced the song and all that.
okay.
Yeah.
So then, how did? Because it was earlier this year
Mm-hmm.
that you guys broke up. So do you mind if I ask? You can say like, I don't remember
No,
why we broke up. Just
it's
move
really
on.
just personal differences.
Okay.
Growing apart, you know, just growing up really.
That's
Yeah,
it's
just
hard.
honestly personal differences. I know it's cliche, but we all have our minds set on different things. There was a lot of, there was a lot of time from like this year from when we blew up for our minds to know what we wanted to do. Because, there was a peak and then it definitely fell off. So we had a lot of time to consider what we wanted to keep doing.
That's fair. And I'm certainly not going to probe for specifics because that's personal. Those are personal things, and that's part of the craziness. Just to use that word that you had used before of making it when and being successful so young, because those are informative years when you're finding out about yourself. And I'm lucky to have friends that I've still have had, friends who went to my bar mitzvah, but that's not everyone that stays. Those are like my core group of friends, but for the most part, even friends, do I talk to anybody I still went to high school with? Maybe a few people I went to college with. People just grow up, different views on things. And it's I think it's better that you didn't force it, just for maybe name recognition. Because then that probably would affect the music then, because now this is just all you and how you want to express yourself. So what's out now? Because so what do you have? You have singles out now, baguettes. What's exactly do you have under the Malxolm Brixkhouse moniker, which both C's are X's? I should, if anyone wants to.
Both C's are X's in my name. There's just a bunch of singles right now. You want me to name them?
I mean, if you have like 20 singles, you don't have to name 20 of them. But
no.
if you can just what
I'll
should
name my favorites. I'll name my 3 favorites that are out now. Let's say Phantom has a video, Intuition has a video, and no, those are my 2 favorite. Those are my favorite 2.
Okay. Because we want to just obviously drive people with these. I'm assuming they're all available on iTunes and Spotify. And people to check them out. So are you just kind of writing now, okay, this is a song, this is how I want to express myself in video and putting it down now? Or is it leading to, I'm assuming it's leading to an album at some point?
Yeah, it's leading to an album.
Okay. I'm sure maybe even COVID plays into this. Was it supposed to come out this year? Were you supposed to tour with it this year, or what's
a lot
of
this music I've been making for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just dropping music, and I'm creating an album in the background too. I have music to drop, and I, creating at the same time, shooting videos, creating the image of Malxolm right now.
I like
whoever that character is supposed to be.
I like that. And this is I think the way music is being released now. You see many of these older artists, like, I don't know if people want to listen to full albums, solely, but the fact that you're doing kind of what Gilby Clarke, former GNR, he's doing. He's had an album done for like years already, but he keeps just releasing singles.
Yeah.
And develop the sound and the foundation of that album. So that is great that you're building the brand back up and
artist development.
Artist
development. You got to do it by yourself now. Record labels don't do that part for you anymore.
Are you like a real like Swiss Army knife of just like you do everything? Like who's your?
Yeah, I do everything pretty much. Yeah? Honestly, yeah.
Anyone? Do you find it more challenging? Because I guess before you could bounce ideas off bandmates, but who are you bouncing it off now? Maybe
Myself?
you don't have to give. Just throwing a tennis ball against the wall, and that's
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's more personal. I don't gotta ask any questions.
So you don't, even if it's something like, "Hey, Mom, do you like this?" Nothing like that.
She could give her opinion, but if she doesn't like it, I'm still not going to change it.
Of course not.
I really don't like opinion. Like, someone could give me opinion, but if I like it, then I like it.
Right on.
Yeah.
To go back.
I do.
Cool. To go back, because I don't want to miss it, because I know some of the GNR stuff was brief. Any other specific like moments you remember other than kind of being rushed into a awkward, not I don't say awkward, a not photoshopped picture with you and Axel? Any other moment, like any members maybe watch you guys side stage or come up and talk to you?
No. Bumblefoot. You know Bumblefoot?
Sure. Another Brooklyn boy.
Yep. He has a ridiculous pedal board. Yeah, bro. It's so cloudy. I don't know. It's so long ago.
You guys should work together.
Yeah. I have more moments to Slash, actually.
Yeah, so that was what I was going to ask. So how did you? Yeah, tell me about how the Slash, because you said it was like a week and a half. You guys toured, and I believe because it's online. You guys have played a Pier 17. Is that the
Yeah,
which is
that was the
so
most recent. That was the most recent one. Um, we at least I've been in so many times that he recognizes us every time we meet him now. You know, but it's quick waves, high and by, a lot of security, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's not like we know these artists. You know, we just kind of meet them high and by. You know, they recognize. You know, it's not like we're chilling with them. It's very age difference is crazy. So you know.
Sure. Well, I'm not
No.
thinking like you guys are going backstage playing Mario Kart together. I'm just curious if you ever heard feedback like, obviously they liked you to take you out on tour and open shows, but I don't know if you ever heard feedback, especially since people like Slash, since Bumblefoot, they like to collaborate. So it's
Yeah.
some.
No, but I'm assuming since they allowed us to be on tour with them, you know, that they liked us.
Okay.
You know, this is the problem, you know, being a child star. There's a lot of grown-ups doing all this other work, you know. It's hard for us to get in the, you know, the mix.
I gotcha. So since I guess it probably makes sense. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Since you're solo, you're doing everything yourself. Are you thinking about collaborating with other people? Because that is a big part of music today. Collaboration and maybe genre crossovers. Anything.
I've made an interesting collaboration with one of my upcoming artists. Well, I'm not going to say who.
Okay.
But no, I don't know what I actually collaborate with that's like famous or like successful. I'm more focused on my own sound. I'm really working on just I have I have my own idea of how I hear rock sounding, and
Cool.
having like, you know, the newer generation's attention and focusing on rock music and making it, you know, the center of like, well, it doesn't have to be the center, but just having kids like rock music. I kind of have an idea of why I liked it, and I have an idea of why they like music they like, and I could just bring both worlds together.
I like that. I won't keep you here too much longer, but I'm curious, since you are such a student of the genre and you're very intelligent in your approach, what musicians do you, I guess, look up to and inspire you and say, you know what, maybe when I'm 29, when I'm 39, when I'm 49, you know, I would like to be where that person was or that is. I mean, not necessarily to mirror that, you know, make your own path, but somebody you can look up to and say, you know what, I like the way this group or this
I
artist.
like looking back at like honestly bands like Guns N' Roses and Metallica and like before I was born. I like looking at those eras to see like, I don't know, I felt like metal was more, it looked like it was very fun. It was like very fun to be a metal fan during those days, or like a rock fan during those days. And I would like to honestly recreate that, make it feel young again, you know, for people.
Right on.
Because there's a lot of mosh pits and everybody wants to be a rock star. So I feel like they're making an opportunity for me. You know,
Cool.
if it's so, you know.
I do. I feel
So
what you're
yeah,
saying.
those are like my inspirations. Honestly, I have like sound, like I know like I could take sounds and put them together, but those not my like. And I like looking at like metal bands from like, you know, the 90s or 80s and seeing how people gravitated towards it and what about it made them seem so majestic, like, you know.
Right on. And that's something I do with this podcast because I know I'm older than you, but I just turned 37. So I wasn't around when Guns N' Roses broke. You know, when
Yeah.
Appetite for Destruction came out, I was 4 listening to the Muppet
Wow.
Babies, you know? But then I look back at Guns N' Roses in that era of the Sunset Strip, and I'm like, wow, like I wish I could have experienced the
Exactly.
same thing. So I'm trying to bring that back in kind of
Yeah.
podcast form because I don't have any musical talent. So I'm glad somebody's doing that. So I totally feel what you're saying, and I bet a lot of people can relate to you, and I'm glad. That makes me feel good about the future of rock and metal. It really
Yeah.
does. That it's in
It
good
might take a
hands.
while because new people. It takes it's hard for people to get used to new things. But I'm taking the journey, so I don't mind it.
You certainly are taking the journey, and it's the journey you've had already. And again, I don't want to say it. I can't help but be the older brother. I'm the oldest of
Yeah,
four,
it's
so I don't
all
want to
good.
act like that.
It's all good. I know I'm
When I
young.
say you're only 19.
No, I know I am only 19. It feels long, but I'm pretty sure it's a lot longer to go.
People tell me the same thing, but when I see gray hairs in my beard, I'm like, oh, I'm going to die tomorrow. No, it's apparently I'm still young as well.
Yeah, apparently.
Malcolm, this was really fun. I really enjoyed talking to you, and I can't wait to
Thank
see.
you. Me too.
I just can't wait to see what comes out of Malxolm Brixkhouse. What's the next? Is there another single on the way? What's the like? And also,
there's gonna be a single, November.
Okay.
And a video before the end of the year. So.
Okay. Because I appreciate because you followed me both on Twitter. Is it always going to be? This is because it's at UTT band, of course, for still unlocking the truth band.
Yeah, they can look that up. I don't know how to fix that yet, so
Okay.
Until then, yeah, that's it right now.
Okay. No, cool. Because I know that sometimes it's like annoying that you can't change Twitter handles, and I think Facebook sometimes lets you change names but you can still look up Malxolm Brixkhouse on Facebook.
Yes, they can.
Your YouTube page, and are you doing? And forgive me for not knowing. This is the cool thing to do in the pandemic. Are you doing any live streams, anything like that, possibly planned?
We were thinking about doing that, but I haven't been yet. No.
Okay.
I'm still just crafting my sound, making music when I, have the creative spark.
All right. And I know next time I'm in Times Square, I know if I see somebody, playing metal with a mask on, I'll know it's you.
That's me, I guess. Yeah.
Cool. Well, Malcolm, this was a pleasure. I hope we get to do this again.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. And let me just wrap up my little podcast here because I'm going to put this just like I'm trying to do. I'm such a radio behind the scenes guy, but you got to build that brand. So we're zooming it. So I can tell people future guests that are coming up. One of the co-designers of the Guns N' Roses pinball. Are you a video game guy or an arcade game guy?
Just music.
If I ever, man, I'm not a huge video game guy, but it was always like a dream of mine. If I ever have the means, I want to own like arcade games. Like Turtles in Time, the Simpsons game.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
The pinball machine is amazing. And we're going to get with Spike from Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. I don't know if you know who they are.
No.
They're a punk rock cover band.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, Fat. They've been around for a while. I think it was Chris Shiflin from the Foo Fighters was in there for a while.
Wow.
Fat Mike from NoFX was in there. So yeah. So I'm trying. It is, and so it's funny for me. This all seems like a blur doing these episodes, getting to talk to cool people just like you. So, for those who follow the AFD show religiously, that's what you have to look forward to. But until next time, when are you going to see those interviews? When are you going to see them next? Well, in the words of Axl Rose concerning Chinese democracy, you'll see it. I don't know if soon is the word.